Hi, it's Better Photo Jim, and I'm here with your question of the day. All right, in my recent survey, one question that I saw a lot was, how do I create great landscape photos? And for instance, that might be like a beautiful nature scene at a national park or in a local park or in your own backyard. How can I create great landscapes? And I can think of three things off the top of my head that I think will make your landscape photos soar. Okay, the first thing is, when are you photographing that landscape? I can't tell you how many photos I see where that beautiful landscape is being photographed in midday. Now, if you can just discipline yourself to get up early and photograph in the first part of the day, right around sunrise, and photograph in the last part of the day until about a half hour after sunset, that lighting, there's like an hour around each sunrise, sunset, that lighting is going to make your photo so warm and so unique. There's a magic to that light at that time. So that's the first thing. The second thing is use a tripod. Definitely set your camera securely on a tripod when you're photographing that landscape, and see if you can take your hands away from it if you're using a very slow shutter speed, which is what will happen if you're using a very big f-stop number like f22 or f32, so that you get maximum depth of field. That may or may not be what you want, but if you want maximum depth of field where everything from the foreground to the background is in sharp focus, a result of that often is going to be that there's going to be a slower shutter speed. So get your hands off of your camera, use a self-timer, or use a remote to fire the shutter. Okay, and then the last thing we talked about using the right light by photographing at the right time of day, and we talked about using a tripod so you get nice sharp photos. The last thing is to get in close on some foreground object. I've talked about this in another answer, but I wanted to share it again, that if you can get in very close to some interesting foreground element, like if you're photographing a beautiful nature scene, maybe there's some gnarled tree or even an interesting tree stump, or maybe if you're photographing your own backyard, maybe you can get in really close to a bird feeder or some garden element, some design element that will add a lot of interest and flavor and story to your photo. So those are just three ways off the top of my head. Oh, here's a bonus way. If you're photographing a landscape with the horizon, make sure that that horizon is not placed right in the middle of the photo. Make sure that it's either on the lower third or the upper third or above or below, depending on what effect you want to get. But put it off center. And B, make sure that it's not the slightest bit tilted. This is something I see a lot, and it's a very simple thing to correct a landscape that is like this and make it be very nice and flat. All right, there you go. There's a few ideas for you for landscapes. Go out today and try some of those things out. And again, if you've heard them, make sure that you're actually doing them. Make it a habit, and you'll see your results get better and better and better. All right, this is Better Photo Jim. Have fun making great photos.